Hello, everyone, and welcome to TBI's annual spring fundraiser, Zoom Gala Gala and Mitzvah Moment. I'd like to take a second to thank all of you for joining us on this beautiful Sunday and for helping out with the financial well-being of our community. I'd also like to thank those who've already donated by signing on to our webpage. Thank you so much. This is TBI's biggest fundraiser of the year, and we are so appreciative of your presence here. The theme for this year is honoring those who have kept us connected. And there are many of us, and we'll highlight some of those folks over the next half hour or so. But I'd like to special mention to our wonderful executive director, Nina Corican, for all the work she does behind the scenes, our rabbis, Rabbi Solomon, who really hit the ground running and is providing wonderful education to our community, and Rabbi Ruchi Sophia for all you do to keep us connected and engaged. I gotta say, I was just swelling with pride this weekend for the Shabbaton. I think you represented our community so well, just hearing the beautiful harmonies with Rabbi Ruchi and her sister Shira, the musicians. I was kvelling. It was wonderful. So thank you again, everyone, for your presence, for your generosity, and for all you do to keep this community connected. Much appreciated. And with that, I'd like to turn things over to our MC, Joanna Seasonwine. All the best.
Thank you, Jared, and good evening, everyone. I'm so happy that you are here joining us through the miracle of Zoom for our gala, which is virtual again this year to help keep everyone safe. As Jared said, our theme tonight is honoring those who have kept our community connected. Now, this past year plus has been a time of change and upheaval, and we are so grateful to the many members of our TBI community who have helped us to continue to learn, pray, mourn, celebrate, and socialize together, even while we've been apart. So we'll be sharing some videos tonight that highlight some of the connections that you have helped make happen. So please join me in supporting TBI's efforts tonight by making a contribution on our website, which is www.tbieugene.org/Zoom Gala. And that information should be shared soon if it hasn't been already in the chat. And if you need any tech help, please check the chat as well, and someone will help you there. So thank you so much to everyone who has contributed so far, and we'll be checking in on the pledges that we've received throughout the event tonight. And now I'd like to turn the program over to Rabbi Ruchi Sophia Motzkin-Rubenstein.
Thank you, Joanna and Jared. Thank you to all of you who are here this evening, friends, members, neighbors who are tuning in support of our community. I think it's really important that we take some time to celebrate how we have supported our community through this very difficult year. Some of you heard Rabbi Mira Wasserman talk on Friday night about how maybe Lag BaOmer is just a holiday celebrating a break in a really traumatic moment. And we need breaks, and we need to celebrate overcoming difficult things. And we have overcome difficult things this year, from managing new tech platforms and camera angles to checking up on the well-being of all of our members to feeding our awesome Lag BaOmer bonfire. The ongoing renewal of our community has required work from many hands and attention from many minds. And whether you spent hours helping to construct our new ohel, the tent in our courtyard, or a few minutes delivering a Hanukkah package to a housebound member, I hope you know that your contribution was vital to keeping our community connected. Of course, creating community has not only required volunteer time, but also some expensive tech efforts and ongoing staff time. So today, as we hope to raise $50,000 for the synagogue's operating expenses, and thank goodness we are almost halfway there already, the same is true. Whether you can give us $18 or $1,800, your contribution matters, and we value your contribution because we value how you value this community. So as we think about how we value this community, I invite you to share in the chat something that has been meaningful about your connection to TBI in the past year, whether it was a meaningful interaction with a fellow member, a song that you loved hearing over and over again, a holiday that was sweet to celebrate, or a teaching that stuck with you. Please just share something about it. Thank you to those of you who have already shared healing work and exploring Judaism. Yes, this is great. Oh, please keep it coming. Wonderful. Yes, please keep the sharing coming. And I wanted to reflect, because you know I love teaching Torah at any opportunity, that we've been reading Torah from the book of Leviticus this month. And as we look back on this year of COVID, I am inspired by the idea of a Korban Todah, the Thanksgiving offering that is mentioned in chapter 7 of Leviticus. As the commentator Rashi explains, in ancient times, after surviving a potentially life-threatening circumstance, such as a long illness, a long voyage across a sea, travel through a wilderness, or release from imprisonment, a person would bring a Thanksgiving offering. These Thanksgiving offerings were also, as a necessary part of them, consumed very quickly within a day, which meant that the person bringing them wasn't just consuming them themselves, but was sharing them with the whole community in order to fulfill the offering. So as we slowly move towards reopening and negotiate reopening from COVID, we are surely not out of the wilderness, and we know that. And we have lost many loved ones. And it is also an appropriate time to give thanks for our own survival, for the coming of spring, for greater freedom in our movements and interactions. So, as you think about what you can give today, I ask, what Korban Todah, what Thanksgiving offering feels right to you to share with our community to mark this moment? As you think about that question, I am delighted that we are now going to hear from our Rabbi Emeritus, Rabbi Yitzhak Husbands-Henkin.
It's been reassuring on a personal level to know that our community is doing well, that in the midst of this very difficult time for everyone, that there is a cohesiveness to our Jewish community and to TBI, that there have been a lot of programs. I've been fortunate and blessed to be able to participate in them. For me personally, one of the main things, part of my rhythm is Shabbat, with the Shabbat morning Torah learning. Torah study has been great. And the Shabbat morning services, that's been a real important part of my week flow. And it's been a good time to feel close with our community and remember what it's about. So thank God. I'm appreciative.
Thank you, Rabbi Yitz. It is great to be with you via this amazing technology we've all come to know and appreciate. We're honoring those who have kept our community connected during this past year. And at the top of that list are the folks who helped us quickly pivot to the virtual space when COVID hit. And at the top of that list is Dan Weber. Dan has the skills and experience that we needed to set up and run our cameras, streaming, and sound. Since day one, he's been fine-tuning and upgrading our systems and has spent countless hours bringing Shabbat and holiday services into our homes. Also from our staff, Jody Kurtner has worked with many community members on getting Zoom set up, recorded and edited videos, and has managed hundreds of Zoom and YouTube events. And working closely with staff, volunteer extraordinaire Mike Spicer has been instrumental in bringing high quality virtual experiences to our community. Other tech support volunteers include Michael Griffel, Tom Jacobs, Paul Compton, and Daniel Aviv Balbuena Quilter, who have run streaming and served as Zoom Gabbai, and Josh Remis, who produces our community song videos, one of which you will see later this evening. We are grateful to all of them for keeping us connected. And I am making a donation in honor of our tech support and volunteers. And if you would like to join me, please go to the TBI website to do so. And now here are a few words from TBI board member Michael Griffel, who regularly streams our services.
Hi, I just wanted to express my deep appreciation for being a part of the TBI community. Being able to be involved in the streaming on YouTube of services on Friday nights and helping people to stay connected to TBI has really been an incredible honor and privilege. I'm so appreciative to Dan Weber and Nina Corcoran and Rabbi Ruhi and so many people that make services possible. And really help keeping us connected during a very difficult time. We have an amazing community, and it is really wonderful to be able to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. So one of the many challenges of going virtual this year was finding a way to bring our Talmud Torah program online while maintaining its vibrancy and a sense of connection for our community's children. We are grateful for the incredible leadership of Rabbi Educator Allison Solomon, Talmud Torah Administrator Rachel Burstein, and Sherry Conowitz-Burt, who stepped back into the role of interim Talmud Torah Director while Rabbi Solomon was on leave in the fall. So not only have our community's children continued to engage in Jewish learning, we had several become B'nai Mitzvah during this time. So next we're going to hear from one of them, Gabriel Walters Warren, who became a bar mitzvah last November, about what the process meant for him.
So I actually started training before the pandemic, around a month before, and it went really well until the quarantine hit. Luckily, that didn't stop us. We got on Skype and we learned a lot through there. It was way more challenging than in person, but eventually we found the techniques to learn and do what we needed. When I got to the actual bar mitzvah, I was kind of nervous though, because even though I felt like I had everything down, my davar was solid, the prayers were solid, I learned everything on Skype. So what do I know? So before the bar mitzvah, there's actually a rehearsal, and that really helped me because it made me recognize that I knew all the prayers and my davar was solid and the Torah reading was great. So when I got to my actual bar mitzvah, I was really confident in myself, and that really helped me persevere through the pandemic and get the bar mitzvah great.
I hope, Gabrielle, that you're here and watching this and seeing all the appreciative comments in the chat. You were amazing. So many of our B'nai Mitzvah students have been so amazing in how hard they've worked and how much they have accepted in terms of going with the flow of a very different experience than what they expected. And the community has been amazing in rallying around them to support them, tuning in via Zoom and YouTube for their services and continuing even to this moment, sharing encouraging messages in the chat. There's so many ways in which we have figured out how to make it work to connect virtually and by Zoom and by phone to stay together. And so I want to highlight another one of those ways. Starting right last March, as it became clear we were shutting things down in person, I reached out to Bev Behrman of our Tzedakah V'Chesed committee to inquire whether we could set up a network of about 20 volunteers who could routinely check up on fellow members so that everyone was receiving some kind of routine outreach and inquiry into their well-being throughout this pandemic. She put out the initial call for 20 volunteers, and we got 40 volunteers who initially called people weekly, and then that moved to monthly as we got more accustomed to the pandemic. Many of you have decided you didn't need calls. Many of you have struck up friendships with your callers. And I really want to appreciate the almost 100 people who have wound up making calls on my behalf to keep our community connected and to keep checking on each other. We're about to feature 2 of those callers speaking about what it meant to them. And in the meantime, I have made a donation in honor of the callers. If any of you would like to join me in doing so, I encourage you to do so.
Hello. So I am one of Rabbi Ruhi's callers, monthly callers, and first of all, I appreciated that the rabbi felt confident in me to be her eyes and ears as she leads the synagogue through the pandemic, make monthly calls. I've reconnected with people, so it's been a benefit to me as well, reconnected with people who I've had previous friendships with that have kind of lagged through the years. On many occasions, people that I called would tell me that they felt lonely, they felt isolated, and wanted to hear from the rabbi. So I would pass that on to the rabbi, and she took it from there. In one occasion, the rabbi actually visited one of our congregants who was in long-term care facility by visiting them through the window back when people in long-term care were not allowed to have in-person visits. So it's been meaningful for me, and I appreciate the rabbi having confidence in me and the others to make these calls and help her steer the congregation through the pandemic.
During COVID, it really started when Rabbi Ruhi sent out the call for callers, like, do you have time and capability to make calls to your community? And that is my jam. I love talking to people and chatting with people. And so I signed up to do that. And I think that that was kind of the first plug in during COVID. Making the calls kept me connected to my community, and in a really cool way, because I was just assigned a page in the directory. And so I was calling people that maybe I had never talked to before, or didn't have a connection with, or maybe had met a couple times or tangentially, but to be able to like talk and check in and to have kind of this common uniting, slightly terrifying at times thing was really powerful. And it gave us an opportunity. I think it provided me, at least, and the people I was talking to, the opportunity to really be vulnerable in a way that you're not always able to do when you're just chatting at temple, right? Like maybe you say hi, maybe you don't, but yep. It gave something really real, I think, to latch onto.
Thank you, Craig and Caitlin, for volunteering your time to call and connect with members of our community. And thank you to everyone who has made a donation so far, including Vern Katz and Deb Daughters, Nathan and Robin Phillips, Tom and Patty Barkin, and Sharon Ungerleiter. Thank you to Ellen Todris, who writes, "Thanks for TBI's presence and resilience throughout this year." And to Alayi Reyes Santos and Ana Maureen Lara, who write, "Thank you, TBI community, for all your support always." Thank you to Gordon Lafer and Rachel Kirtner, Rebecca and Peter Kovac, Marlene Blum, the TBI Brotherhood, Mike Lewis and Martha McRitchie, and so many others. If you'd like to join them, please go to www.tbieugene.org/Zoom Gala to make your contribution now. And of course, if you need tech help, please check the chat and you can get help there. We heard from Craig and Caitlin about the caller program from their perspective as callers. So next we're going to hear from TBI member Joe Cohen, who was one of the recipients of those calls, about how that connection helped him during a difficult time.
Well, the first thing that I found out that really brought me in were the calls from Emily. She called me every week in the beginning, which was pretty incredible because that's the time when my brother succumbed to COVID. And she was very understanding and helpful, especially in being a liaison with the rabbi. It's a long way to Eugene to get to talk to someone about temple things. My second reason that I like the remote part is because every Thursday at noon, I do Torah study with a rabbi. And there are a bunch of people who come back every week, a group that know each other by now. And that's really cool. Oh, Friday night services that we could not attend because of the lateness of it. And getting back here at 11 o'clock, driving through the mountains really late is not my favorite thing. Being able to attend Friday night services by remote is wonderful.
Thank you to Joe for those reflections. And for those of you who didn't catch that, Joe lives in Florence and is giving us a good reminder of how one of the things we've learned through this pandemic is of the importance of making our community accessible to our members far and wide who might not be able to come to things that we hold in person. One of the unexpected delights has been Torah study with people from Florence to Roseburg to Tucson, Arizona, who are part of our regular group, and people tuning in to our services from all over the country. So as we think about how we have continued to expand our community, even in this time of COVID, I invite us to what is our official mitzvah moment. Would anyone else like to give to the goal or to pledge towards giving to the goal? And if you would like to put in the chat what you are giving in honor of, we would like to acknowledge that. In the meantime, we're going to hear now from Alai Reyes Santos and Marlene Blum about why they give to TBI.
Well, when asked why do I give to TBI, why Anna and I give to TBI, I can only think, speaking for myself, about all the years since I moved here, maybe the past 12 years, that TBI has been another home for me. It's a place where people understand what it means to have tradition. It could be my different tradition and my different ancestry and history, and people can honor that and respect it and allow for it to flourish next to Jewish life and within Jewish life. And I really love that piece about being part of TBI in all the ways in which I've been able to participate over the last 12 years.
Hi, TBI community. It's me, Marlene Blum, one of your board members, and I'm here to tell you about why I decided for our family to donate in this mitzvah moment. And the reason is that we know that TBI is a community that has given so much to us, and we are so grateful for everything that we've gotten from being a part of this community, and we know going forward that will continue in our lives and our young children's lives.
Thank you so much, Ali and Marlene, for sharing those words. And thank you so much to all of you who have continued to give throughout this program. Thanks to Jacob Griffin, Caitlin and John Roberts, Sevia Yellen, Avraham Frankel, Reza Maddox, Ellen Scott, who noted in the chat, I give with gratitude for all the ways in which TBI has felt so present during this time. Thanks so much to Rabbi Solomon, who says, so grateful to Rachel Burstein for all the ways she supports Talmud Torah, and to Judith Candle, who says, thanks to all for the support. Randy Bernstein and Amy Steckel say, Amy and I pledged a donation in gratitude of all of the efforts of the rabbi, staff, and volunteers for keeping our Jewish community strong and connected. That's great, thank you. Some more folks whose donations have come in, I'd love to acknowledge. Thanks so much to Mark Watson, Jess Lambright, Jean Lux, Leslie and Michael Griffel, Gretchen Lieberman and Julie Raskin, Ed Black, Tara Siegman, Stacy Goldenberg, and Asher Tubman. So, so far, I'm so pleased to announce that we have raised a total of $27,722, but the pledges are continuing to come in, and it doesn't have to end tonight. If you'd like to make a contribution after tonight's gala, or if you've already made a contribution but you'd like to add to it, the donation page will be up on our website, which again is www.tbieugene.org/Zoom-gala, and that will be up after tonight. So thank you so much for everyone that has given so far. And I'm pleased to turn it back over to Rabbi Ruchi.
I am so delighted by this community and all the ways we continue to show up for each other. I am so grateful to the donors and volunteers that we have named, and the truth is there are so many more donors and volunteers that we haven't named. Please know that we appreciate you so much as well. I hope that whether you feel like you tap into TBI on a really frequent weekly basis, or you just know that we're around when you need us, if you don't hang out with us or tune in that often, I hope that you know and that this event reminds you that whatever you can give, however often you show up virtually or in person, TBI as a community is here for you. We value your presence and we want to support you in whatever ways you need. So as we prepare to close down this event, and I thank you, those of you who are continuing to give, I invite you to share, as I usually do on Shabbat, one thing that you are grateful for. Some of you have been sharing what you're grateful for throughout this event, and that is awesome. I've particularly loved the multiple comments from some of you, but especially if you've been a little shy about it. Just one thing that you're grateful for as we prepare to watch a rendition of our final song that was made with the help of many volunteers in our community.
B'Shem Samer Leshimcha Elyon, Rabbi